Hello Eagles, how are you all? It is lovely to be back with you again today for our first story time session. I hope you're all well. It's bizarre to think that today is Friday and so now it would be the weekend, which is a really odd feeling in the current circumstances. I hope you've all been keeping up with the news. You've been hearing that both Prince Charles and Boris Johnson are two of the many people who've now been diagnosed with coronavirus. So I hope you're all realising just how important it is that we stay inside and stay safe. I hope you all joined in with or heard about the clap for the NHS. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to remind you guys to be really, really grateful for all of the fantastic services that we have in this country and how lucky we are to be here in the UK. Now, I'm really pleased that so many of you have been commenting and liking my videos. That's fantastic. I'm glad to see that you're all watching them. If you are going to play that weird game where you try to be the first to comment on my videos, please make sure you can spell numbers correctly. I had second. I also had fourth, spelt F-O-R-T-H. Remember, we're in year 6. We should know how to spell numbers by now. So, for this first story time, seeing as how we are studying one of the most famous plays by my main man, Willie Shakes, or Billy Shakes, as he's known to some, Macbeth, I thought we might as well look at another one of his plays in story time, probably the most famous play that's ever been written, Romeo and Juliet. And we're going to read a retelling of that story together.
Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventures piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love, and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end naught could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, the which, if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. In Verona, a beautiful Italian city of flowers, sunshine, good food, and fine houses, lived two families who hated each other with a fury. All Montagues and Capulets were bitter enemies, and had been since anyone could remember. One day, Tybalt Capulet was strolling down the street when Benvolio Montague accidentally bumped into him. "This means death for you," cried Tybalt, drawing his sword. Instantly, a gang of Montagues shot out of the side streets, ready to fight, and at the same time a gang of Capulets appeared from nowhere, daggers pointed at their enemies. The noise was deafening as the gangs fell upon each other. Screams, insults, and the clash of steel on steel brought the ruler of Verona, Prince Escalus, from his palace to see what had disturbed the peace of his beloved city. "They're at each other's throats again," he fumed. "This must stop. Enough!" he commanded. "Your rage explodes from your veins like purple fountains. Montagues and Capulets, this must stop. If there's any more fighting, the culprits will be punished with death. Now go home, everyone, at once." And they had to obey. Everyone went home, but Lord and Lady Montague lingered along with their nephew, Benvolio. Lady Montague was anxious about her son, Romeo, who was still missing. "Oh, where is my Romeo?" she asked Benvolio. "He wasn't at the riot," Benvolio assured her. "He's not a fighter, he's a dreamer. He's in love with Rosaline. He wants to be alone all the time to think about her." "Oh, he's far too young for love," his mother laughed indulgently. But Benvolio was right, and later that evening, when Romeo whistled to Benvolio to coax him out of the house, he wasn't surprised to hear Romeo's plans. "The Capulets are giving a party tonight. Come with me, Benvolio. I might see Rosaline there. No one will know who we are. It's a masked ball. I dreamed of it," Romeo told him, brimming with the thrill of his new idea. Ha! Dream on, you fool, Benvolio scoffed. I feel something, Romeo whispered. Something important that is hanging in the stars. You really want to go? Benvolio saw how eager Romeo was. Then we will. We'll take our friend Mercutio, too. Juliet Capulet was excited. She'd never been considered old enough to attend a ball before. Her mother and her nurse, who had looked after her since she was a tiny baby, helped her to get ready. They combed her long, shining hair, winding it with flowers, and threaded ribbons around the waist of her dress. My ladybird, said her nurse, just think, your first ball, only 13. Well do I remember the day I came here to look after you, the sweetest baby I ever did see. Nearly 14, corrected Lady Capulet. And time you thought about marriage, Juliet. There's a young man coming tonight, Count Paris, who's interested in you. My lamb is wise, but too young to marry, interrupted the nurse. I have not yet thought of it all, said Juliet. Then think about it now, ordered her mother. Younger girls than you are already wives and mothers here in Verona. I was not much older than you are now when I gave birth to you. Come down and meet Paris. Try to like him. I'll look at him, Juliet conceded. I'll give him one glance, she thought to herself, for the man I love is my choice alone. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this night. That night, Romeo, Benvolio, and Mercutio, all disguised in masks, went to the party at the Capulets' house. No one guessed they were Montagues. Lord Capulet was at his most benevolent, welcoming his guests, offering them wine, and ordering the musicians to play. Romeo's eyes flitted around the room. Lit by the flickering flames of torchlight, he saw a girl more beautiful than all his dreams, more lovely than any girl he had ever seen before. She was dancing so gracefully with some gentleman or other. She caught his eye, and he felt his blood surge over his body with desire and worship and warmth, and in that heart-stopping moment, he fell in love. Who is she? Romeo demanded. Benvolio and Mercutio shrugged. No idea, said Mercutio. Aren't you forgetting Rosaline? Asked Benvolio. She's history, unable to take his eyes off Juliet. I did not know till now what true beauty is. Tybalt overheard him. That's a Montague, he roared. I can tell by the way he speaks. An enemy, a villain come to mock us. I'll kill him now. Peace, soothed old Capulet. I'm not having any killing at my feast. The boy is Romeo, and, to be fair, Verona speaks well of him. Ha! Muttered Tybalt furiously, striding past Lord Capulet to gulp down a goblet of wine. Romeo, seeing Tybalt temporarily silenced, seized his moment. The beautiful girl had left her dancing partner, and he slipped through the crowds after her. You have taken my breath away, he told her when he caught up. I do not know who you are, but... He held out his hand to her, palm upright, and the girl held out hers, so their two palms fitted together. I want to kiss you, he whispered. And I you, too, she whispered back. They clasped each other's fingers, both wide-eyed. Both were equally spellbound, sharing the feeling of being swept away as if they were the first and only people alive to enjoy it, as if don't meant do, and be careful meant nothing at all. They couldn't let each other go. Until Juliet's nurse bustled by and interrupted them. Your mother wants you, lamb, she said, eyeing Romeo. Who is her mother? Asked Romeo. She is the lady of this house, of course, the nurse replied. Romeo froze. So, this girl is Juliet Capulet, confirmed the nurse, bustling Juliet away. The daughter of my enemy, thought Romeo, turning away in despair. I must leave this house at once. Who is that man? Juliet asked the nurse as they hurried along to her mother. Romeo, a Montague, the son of your great enemy, Nurse told her. How cruel, Juliet whispered to herself. My only love has sprung from my only hate. She couldn't endure the party any more. It felt meaningless to her, so she excused herself as soon as she could and crept upstairs to lie on her bed and think of Romeo, his fingers interlinked with hers, the kiss hovering on his lips, the expression in his eyes.
So that was part 1 of Romeo and Juliet. We'll pick it up tomorrow to find out more about what happens between these star-crossed lovers next. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all tomorrow. Remember, eagles, keep soaring.